Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It is Kevin Ward with your special episode of Kevin at 7. Tomorrow is election day, and I'm sure that many of you, like many Americans, have already voted, as I have. But I want to talk about it today. This is not a political conversation. This is a conversation about you and your life, because there's several things that have happened that have been kind of crazy to me. One has been the inability or unwillingness of the government, the federal government, to provide a stimulus package for America, for us, for citizens. And I don't know where you stand on that, and I don't care where you stand on that. And you're going to find out a little bit about where I stand on it today. Again, this is not a political conversation. This is about you winning in your life. I'm going to tell you this, if you want to be successful if you ever want to have massive success, there is one thing that you can never, ever do. And it's happened to me at least 3 times in my life. Three times that I did something that kept me from success. It was the same thing every time. I just did it over and over again. And it was not until I didn't do it that I actually was able to break through and create some pretty massive success for my life, for my finances, and that is only getting better. Now, all of you want success. Good morning, everybody. As you come on, you can post in the comments where you are. Good to see all of you guys. Jeffrey from Orlando, Natasha from Central California, Yolanda from South Haven, Mississippi by way of Memphis. Good to see all you guys. Welcome. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. But I want to talk about the stimulus package that we did not get, and the stimulus checks that you have not gotten, and the election, and your success. Okay? And I want to just kind of reiterate, this is not a political video. This is not a political live stream. And so, if you want to go political and in the comments, that's up to you, but it doesn't serve anybody, doesn't help anybody. You ain't going to change anybody's mind at this point. 90% sure. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to tell you a story. When I was in college, my parents had agreed when I went to college, they would pay for my tuition and for my dorm, and I would pay for everything else. And so I got a job. I worked at Burger King as a head cashier at Burger King for most of my college, and then I started doing some other stuff. But anyway, when I was a sophomore in college, I took a trip from Abilene, Texas to Oklahoma City to visit a long distance girlfriend. And I drove in my 1979 Chevy Chevette, the Chevrolet Chevette, in case anybody remembers one of those. I drove my Chevy Chevette to Oklahoma City one weekend to see my girlfriend, and then was driving back on Sunday night, and I fell asleep 7 miles away from home. I was almost home, and I fell asleep in the car, fell asleep driving. I ran the car across the center line, past the oncoming lane, and into the ditch on the other side, and crashed into a culvert and lived to tell about it. Now, long story short, we towed the car in. I did not have much money, and so I couldn't afford a tow truck. I didn't even know what that was. And this was back in the 1980s, guys. This was before cell phones. So I had to basically flag somebody down. It's not a hitchhiking thing, but I flagged somebody down, and they literally gave me a ride to my house in Abilene, where my college roommates, one of my college roommates had a pickup, and we went back and we towed my car back to the house. So I didn't know what to do. So this was late at night. The next day I call my dad, and Shanna Macri says my first car was a Chevy Chevette. So this was not my first car to ever drive. My first car was an AMC Rambler, but it was my first car to actually own it, that it was in my name and I was paying for it. but I crashed it and I was like, I don't know what to do. And so I call my dad, and my dad says, well, we're 25 miles from Abilene is where we used to live. Anson was a friend of his that did auto body repair. And he said, we'll take it to him and get him to do it. And I said, Dad, I can't afford it. And will you pay for it? And so my dad paid for it. Well, that started a pattern that continued for years of whenever I would get in financial trouble, my dad would bail me out. And that happened even as an adult, that I got in financial trouble a couple of times because of my own stupid decisions. 90% of your problems or more are self-inflicted, right? Would everybody agree with this? Can I see thumbs up if you guys agree with this? 90% of the crap in your life is your own fault, self-inflicted. Financial problems, most of the financial problems are self-inflicted. Now, that does not mean that when something bad happens, it was your fault. But what it means is that we don't prepare. We don't prepare so that when something bad happens, we can pay for it. Financially, most Americans live broke. And that's what I did. I mean, that's the way I was taught. I was conditioned, because when I couldn't pay for something, my dad would go like, well, you're gonna have to figure it out. He goes like, no problem, we'll take care of it. And my parents were school teachers. They did not have a lot of money. So they sacrificed to do that because they were prepared, which means they saved money. They had money saved up. I never learned how to save money. I never learned how to have money. And so consequently, they always bail me out. And three times in my life, I got into big financial trouble. Well, actually 4. But the first 3 times I got bailed out. The fourth time that I got bailed out, the fourth time that I got into financial trouble was when I moved to California in 2009. And I went through my second divorce. And the economy was in the toilet, which we still didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. And I started this coaching company called Yes Masters. And I ran out of money. And I owed tons of debt. I was paying child support from my first marriage. I was paying alimony from my second marriage. I had major business debt from previous business deal. I had back taxes. I had a car payment, and I had no credit because it had all been destroyed because of bad financial decisions and all that. And when I ran out of money, I lost my house, or it was our apartment. And this was when I ended up sleeping on an air mattress. Many of you have heard that story of me having to rent a bedroom, an unfurnished bedroom in an old rundown apartment complex, and sleeping on an air mattress for 8 months while I built this company and started making money. It was the most painful 8 months of my life. I hated every minute of it. It was horrible. It was just humiliating. It was embarrassing. Almost nobody knew about it because I didn't tell anybody, but it was one of those things that, like, if I get caught, like if people, my coaching members knew how broke I was, who would coach with me? I wasn't lying. I just wasn't telling. And but here's the difference, my friends. Here's the difference. Nobody bailed me out. And it was the first time in my life that I had put myself in a position where I was in trouble financially. And I had to figure it out. And I think one of the greatest blessings that I've ever had in my life was being put in a position where I had to figure it out and be responsible and bail myself out. Because when you bail yourself out, when it's all on you, when you take responsibility and you go through that pain and you go through that suffering, one thing you decide for sure Number one, I will never go there again. And number two, I can figure my own stuff out. I can dig my own way out. I can do, and I'm not saying I did it all by myself, just in terms of like, you don't need other people. I'm just saying that you stop depending and look into somebody else to bail you out. Because what had happened for me was I allowed myself to be a victim of bad decisions that put me in bad situations. And then lo and behold, my parents would always come and rescue me. And all I did was taught me, hey, getting in trouble, doing stupid financially stuff, putting myself in that situation, no big deal, because somebody else is going to come bail me out. And one of the things that happened when coronavirus hit in March of this year is when they said they started talking about a stimulus package and getting help for people. And then we found out that real estate agents could also apply for help for stimulus. And the people were looking to get stimulus checks in the mail. And as soon as that happened, I thought, oh man, this is so bad, because the moment people find out they're going to get checks from the government, they're going to slack off. They're going to back off. They're going to the government's going to take care of me. My friend, a lot of people got confident about that. The government's going to take care of us. So they got their stimulus check. They went out and spent it. And there was this belief that more help's coming. And people are putting themselves in positions because they like, the one thing that I can count on is my government is going to bail me out. And I am going to tell you, my friends, whatever that does to us as a civilization is one thing. But when you start depending on someone else to bail you out, you become helpless. And you will never succeed. You will never succeed. Because you will not learn how to do what it takes to build something that cannot be crushed, to build something unbreakable, to build a financial depth, and to depend on yourself. So here's what I want you to understand. I think the election matters. I think who wins matters. But if you're depending on the government, or you're depending on a stimulus check, or you're depending on who wins the election to take care of you, you, my friend, have put yourself in the position of being a victim, of being helpless and dependent. Saying it's the government's job to make sure that everybody gets taken care of. Now, I grant that it is the government's job to help take care of people, but it is not the government's job to take care of you. It's the government's job to make sure that people that can't take care of themselves have ways to be taken care of. But the problem with that is that most people in America can perfectly take care of themselves, but it's easier to let somebody else do it. And you can do that, but you ain't ever going to have your dreams. You are never going to be successful. You are never going to be able to accomplish the things that you are capable of accomplishing and having the life that you want to have. It's just not going to happen. Is this making sense to you guys? If it is, can I see some more thumbs up? Talk to me, comment. Are you agreeing with this? Are you understanding what I am telling you? I think I see one of the dangers I see is a country where more and more people are looking to the government to bail you out of all of your problems in life and think it's up to the government. Okay? It is not up to the government. And here is the end game. When the more dependent people become on the government, the more you give up to the government, the more of your own freedom you lose, because you keep looking at the government. The government's like, yeah, we'll help you. How does the government help you? How does the government send you a stimulus check? They take it from somebody else. Government doesn't make money. Okay? Governments don't make money. Governments take money. Take it away from you, give it to other people. Okay? Now I'm all for helping other people. But when I was young, and the first homeless man that I ever met, I was in my 20s. I was finishing college. and I was working for a church, and we had this guy's name was Mr. Putnam. Mr. Putnam. I have no idea what his first name was, Mr. Putnam. And he was homeless. He was mentally, not all there. I think he was a vet. You could barely understand him when he talked. He dressed horribly, he stunk. He came to our church. And what do? We took care of him. We put him up, got him in place. Okay, it wasn't a fancy place, but it was a place. We took him food. We didn't depend on the government. Because the more that you depend on the government, the more power they will take and the more of your freedoms you will lose. Until the day comes where it ain't up to you to win anymore. Okay? You choose to take care of your own life, to take care of your own success. You can do this. Okay? If you want to be successful, you learn to bail yourself out and don't ever, ever, ever depend on someone else, whether it's your parents, like it was for me, or the government, or even I heard a guy the other day talking, and I really appreciated what he said. It was a guy that he was in financial trouble. He talked about filing bankruptcy, and he had one of his mentors said, if you ever file bankruptcy, you will take the easy way out the rest of your life. He said, don't file bankruptcy. You figure it out. You figure it out. Now, I'm not against people. I'm not necessarily against somebody filing bankruptcy, but I think just the power of figuring it out and saying, I can overcome this, and you taking care of your own business is incredibly liberating and incredibly empowering. That's it. That's what I got for you today. Is this helpful? Is this good stuff? Thank you, guys. Go vote. But most important, take responsibility for your own life and go get your dreams. Have an awesome week, everybody. Talk soon.